Hi everyone, welcome to Keto Poppy, and today is the Saturday before Thanksgiving, and we're actually doing our family Thanksgiving today. So I'm going to make a low-carb cornbread dressing, and I'm doing this, I've modified a recipe from the YouTube channel High Falutin Low Carb. And the only real modifications and if you guys have not checked him out, check him out. He does kind of he takes two recipes from other places and he makes them both, and then he compares which he likes better. It's a great channel. The only thing that I've modified from his recipe is, instead of boiling the chicken and shredding it and everything, I bought Tyson ready shredded chicken just for time. And instead of doing my own broth, I'm doing a packaged chicken broth. But other than that, everything else is the same as his recipe. And I'd encourage you to go to his website and check it out. So I've got it all written down. I'm going to be working from a written recipe, which normally I kind of post so that I'm not looking down. But this is a lot, so I'll be looking off of my recipe. So I've preheated my oven to 425 degrees, and I've got a cast iron skillet with 2 tablespoons of bacon grease in there, getting blazing hot so that I can pour the cornbread mixture into it so that it can cook up in a pan and get a nice crust to it. I have another corn muffin recipe, which is like Johnny cake. It's a sweeter recipe, but I didn't want to use that for cornbread dressing because I don't want it to be sweet. So what we have here, we have our oven preheating, and in a large bowl we're gonna combine our almond flour. This is 2½ cups of sifted almond flour. Get it all out of there. And if you've watched High Falutin Low Carb, you know he is big on sifting that, and he's right, because otherwise you get lumps of things in it, which is super gross. Okay, so our almond flour, we've got ½ cup of plain crushed pork rinds, and I did these in not the food processor, but the blender. I have a blade for that for my blender. So there's that. We have ½ cup of unflavored whey protein. I don't know that it matters what brand. I just bought some unflavored whey protein, and that's what I'm using. Then I have a ¼ cup of oat fiber. This is not oat bran, this is not oat flour, this is oat fiber. The only place I've been able to find it is on Amazon. Just go to Amazon and search oat fiber and you'll find it. So a ¼ cup of that. Okay, then we need the baking soda. I've got 2 teaspoons of baking soda. Okay. Garlic and onion. So I have a teaspoon each of garlic and onion powder. A teaspoon of salt. Okay. Then we're going to just blend that up. Just kind of incorporate all the ingredients, get them all mixed up before we mix our wet ingredients in. All right. That's nice. And look, it's still got a little lumpy, even though I sifted everything. I think that pork rinds get in there and they've got a little bit of fat in them, so things they've got a lot of fat in them. Who am I kidding? But they've got a lot of stick to them. All right, got that mixed up. Set that over here. Get rid of this. Okay, next we're going to do our wet ingredients. So we're going to do wet ingredients, 2 eggs. Ooh, that was close. All right, since I cracked that one so expeditiously. 2 eggs. Let me get a towel here. We'll blend this up. Set this egg aside, it's for later. Okay, so 2 eggs. I've got a 1.5 cups of heavy cream. That's right, 1.25 cups of heavy cream. We'll mix that in. Oh, that's going to be good. Make sure we get all that out. All right, that over there. Drop that right in there. That's part of it. Drop your whisk right in there so that you have egg and heavy cream all over your hands. Okay, I've got water. I have ½ cup of water. Mix that in. And then I've got a teaspoon of corn extract. And I buy this from Nature's Flavors. And it's really good. It's just their sweet corn extract. Oh, you can smell the corn too. There's other brands out there you can buy. I just happen to like Nature's Flavors. That is my other alteration. He uses amaretti, I think. And amaretti is a lot more expensive than Nature's Flavors, and I like the taste of Nature's Flavors, so that's what I'm using. So we got our extract. Okay, and then we'll add, I think it's 3 tablespoons of melted butter. All right, let me mix that up. Oh, that's pretty. Okay. So then we'll add the wet ingredients to our dry ingredients. And this is the cornbread part of it. This will get that done and that'll go right in the oven. And then I'll tidy up a little bit and we'll do the second part. So try to decide which bowl is bigger. I think maybe this one. So we'll stir this into here. Get that all in there. I don't know if y'all are excited about Thanksgiving or if you're stressed about it. I know for a lot of people this can be a stressful time of year, and you know, family can be good, bad, or both, so I totally get that. You'll have to excuse the mess that is my kitchen. I've got everything packed up to go to my son's house for Thanksgiving, so I have a bunch of stuff sitting out that I wouldn't normally, so you'll just have to excuse that. But we're going to stir this. You don't want to overwork it because you don't want it to be tough, but you do want to get everything incorporated, and we'll get that blazing hot pan out of the oven. It's been in there too long as I got ingredients together, so I'm sure it's going to be a nice sizzle when we pour this in. This is about ready. Oh, that's pretty. I'll give you a look at that. Goes in there so nice. But anyway, I like Thanksgiving. I like getting together with the kids and the family. My daughter's not coming down this year. They moved 5 hours away, so they'll be down for Christmas, so we'll definitely miss her and the grandkids. But we went up and saw them for their birthdays. My daughter and her significant other, their birthdays are a week apart. So we went over and visited for that. All right, let me get the pan out of the oven, and it's super hot. So let me get something to set it on. 3 pot holders ought to do it. It's going to be hot as blazes. And then let's get a pot holder to grab it with. Anyway, drop in the comments recipes, things that you're making maybe that are unusual, that are low carb. I'm always interested to hear. You see that? Like I said, we let it go too long. I'm wondering if let's see if that is burnt. We don't want burnt. Oh my goodness, is that ever hot? Nope, that looks fine. Okay, here we go. We're going to pour this in here. This is going to go on, I've got the oven heated to 425. Listen. There's the sizzle. Get all of that in there. Oh, this is going to be so good. Anyway, this will be my first low-carb Thanksgiving. As some of you who watch the channel know, I had bariatric surgery a year ago in September. I didn't lose a ton of weight with it, about 40 pounds, and then I just kind of came to a screeching halt. And so I started keto, lost another 45, I think, and I'm about 20 pounds from goal. And I got to have some recipes that remind me of when I could eat all the carbs, or there's no way keto is going to work for me otherwise. Okay. Oh, that looks so good, you guys. Okay. Get this in the oven, and it's super heavy. Let me open the oven first. Oh. I forgot to take my cookie sheets out. Anybody else do that? Set cookie sheets in your oven. All right, let's do 2 of these so we don't drop anything. Oh my gosh, that's hot. All right, into the oven. That's going to cook for, we're going to start checking it at 20 minutes, 25 to 30 minutes. Okay, so timer. We'll start checking that at 20. Okay, I'm going to take a little break. I'll get my hot plate set up and we'll start doing the rest of the recipe. Be back in just a minute. Okay, so we're back. I am melting a little bit of butter in a pan here. This little burner thing takes a little bit to heat up. So we'll talk a little bit while we wait. It's coming along. So it calls for a half a cup of onion. I hate chopping onion, and I didn't know until somebody told me that you can buy frozen chopped onion at your local grocery store. And for me, I don't use a lot of onion in things, so it's really handy to have it frozen and ready to go and chopped up, and I don't have to mess with all that. It's one less thing I've got to chop. So I really like it. So what I have here is a pan with a couple of tablespoons of butter in it, and that's just heating up, and we're going to add to that half a cup of onions. Make sure we get all those in there. There we go. And then a cup of celery. This is going to take a while. Okay, I'm going to have so many dishes to wash on the middle part. Okay, we'll just stir that around. We'll let that saute, and it's going to take a little bit to cook down. Okay, about 7 to 8 minutes. So this is going to take 7 to 8 minutes. I'm going to cook this up, and then we'll come back. Okay, so this is cooked down a little bit. I added a little bit of rosemary and thyme and some garlic. You do that to taste. I didn't put it in the ingredients just because I don't know how everybody feels about it, but I like that in mine. So now I'm going to add a cup of chicken broth, and we're going to reduce that down. So that'll cook for a while. You can use stock, you could use bone broth if you want, whatever you like. There we go. And then we're going to let that cook way down. We've got about 7 minutes left until the cornbread comes out of the oven. And so while this is all reducing, that can be cooling, and we'll get it all broken up and into our pan. And I just got those little portable roaster pans. That way I don't have anything to wash or other than all of this stuff. Doing a cooking channel is so funny because I wash, I mean, there's like 12 little tiny bowls that I wash so that I can set all the ingredients out so you guys can kind of see what I'm using. But I'm going to let this cook down, and then we'll come back. Our cornbread's out of the oven, and I just wanted to give you guys a peek. I don't know where I put my pot holder. With my towel here. And what that looks like coming out. Smells good, looks great. So I'm super excited to get this going. This is cooling a little bit still. And I noticed while I was reducing the chicken broth that in the ingredients on the High Falutin low carb cornbread, he calls for 3 to 4 cups of chicken broth, but in the directions he uses 5. So what I did was I just reduced 1 cup of chicken broth with our aromatics, our celery, onion, garlic, rosemary, and thyme. And the other one, so I added the 2nd cup, and it was supposed to reduce down to a couple tablespoons, but since I only had 4 cups of chicken broth, I didn't reduce it all the way down. So that's still sitting on the oven. I've got the oven turned down to 400 because we're getting ready to put all this together. So let's see, slightly brown. Cool. Okay, so we're gonna take this and we're gonna put it in here and we're gonna break it up. Hopefully it comes out of the pan easily. Let me grab a spoon. All right, here goes nothing. Oh my goodness. And look at that, it came right out. Perfect. It's the first time I've made this, so I wasn't sure how that was going to go. So let's break it up. I gotta have a little taste. Oh, that's good. It's got that corn taste from the corn extract. And this is a little, I wouldn't make this for like a regular cornbread because it's dry, which is what we need because we're doing it for a dressing. So you want this to be dry because we've got to add a bunch of liquid ingredients to it. So like my regular corn muffin recipe, I don't think would work for this because I think it would just turn to soup, which would be gross. This might be easier with a fork. We'll start there. Okay, now I'm going to add the aromatics from our pan here. Just stir that in. Come on now. Get all of that out there. There we go. Oh, that smells so good. Okay. Just kind of stir that in, all that celery and Oh, that's nice. Making a mess. Always making a mess. I see people on cooking channels, and I don't know if they have like little elves that come in and clean up everything in between. I'm guessing they do. But for me, I just mess it up and clean it up when y'all aren't looking. All right, so you can see what that looks like. Get this in here. We don't want to lose any of that. Okay. Now I'm going to put an egg here. And to that we'll add a cup of chicken broth. Like I said, if you want to make your own stock or you want to do a bone broth or, you know, whatever, I have a lot of things that I'm making for Thanksgiving that we have to transport. And so I just didn't feel like boiling a whole chicken, doing the broth, shredding the chicken. So I cheated. Don't tell anybody. All right, mix that up. Then it says to add 2 cups of chicken broth to the dressing, which would be the cup that I didn't reduce down, and then this cup. All right. Now we've got a cup of shredded chicken. I'm going to add that in. Stir that up. Oh, this is going to be so good. I can't wait to try it. I was worried it wouldn't be enough for 9 people, but I think it's going to be plenty. Because, you know, I always tell Don wants to have like 20 million things at Thanksgiving. He's like, are 15 rolls enough for 9 people? And I'm like, well, if all we're eating are rolls, no. But with macaroni and cheese and mashed potatoes and stuffing and ham and turkey and pies, yes, it's plenty. Okay, so we got that all stirred in there. Now we're just going to stir in our egg and our chicken broth. I'm guessing the purpose of this egg is to kind of cook it all together. All right, there's that. And we'll mix that in. And then this is going to go in a 400-degree oven I'm going to cover it with foil. It's going to go in a 400-degree oven for 30 minutes, and then we'll remove the foil, let it cook another 30 minutes so it gets nice and brown on the top. And I'm going to taste this. I know it's got raw egg in it. I promise I won't die. Just to make sure it doesn't need any more salt or pepper, because all I've really added was what was called for in the first part of the recipe. So let's get a spoon here. Pretty good. A little bit salt, not much. All right, let's pepper it. And I use Redmond's real salt, just because in processed salt, regular salt, table salt that you see, has all of the potassium and other minerals processed out of it. And that's why you see doctors recommending that you avoid salt if you have high blood pressure. So unprocessed salt has all the minerals in it. It has the potassium and everything in it, and potassium relaxes the blood vessels. So if you're having sodium or salt and you don't have potassium with it, you just get that kind of hypertensive effect. If you have salt that also has potassium in it, it balances. The potassium relaxes the vessels. So that is a good way to be able to get good salt, because you do need salt. Salt is important for the electrical impulses to go across the heart. Salt is used in every function in the body. So, you know, going no salt, I mean, no table salt would be fine, but I wouldn't go no salt at all. Okay, so that's ready to go. Let me get some foil on it. Do a bunch of dishwashing. Cover this. One more little bite since I seasoned it. That's delicious. Okay. And into the oven. And we'll be back in about an hour. We're back. The stuffing is out of the oven. You can have a look at that. Looks delicious. So I'm just going to have a bite right out of the pan here. And I like the crunchy edges. Let's get a bite of this. And it took, I wanted mine a little bit drier, so I had it in the oven probably about an hour and 20 minutes. All set. So 30 minutes without the, with foil on it. And then I took the foil off, did about, actually probably about an hour and a half. I did 30 minutes, stirred it up, did 30 more minutes so that there would be more crunchy parts in it, because I just like the crunchy stuff. But let's give it a taste. That's really tasty. It definitely has the cornbread texture, and I can taste that corn extract. But it's got the cornbread texture. Thank you to the almond flour. It's just perfect for cornbread. The celery, maybe one more bite. Don't tell everybody at Thanksgiving I double dipped with my fork. That's super good. That works. I would eat that with chicken, turkey. The celery's real tender. It's just great. I think the rosemary just kind of makes it. I like rosemary and stuffing. A lot of people like sage and stuffing. I'm not a big sage person. To me, it tastes like something you would clean with, but if you like sage, you throw it in there. But that's all I have for you today. This is Keto Poppy. Remember to hit like and subscribe. Costs you nothing, helps me a bunch. You guys have a great Thanksgiving.